Hey everyone, welcome back to Sunday with Sketch Prince. Today's guest is someone who has been actively working at the intersection of artificial intelligence and engineering. Joining us today is Mr. Santosh Nemmaluri, an AI professional passionate about how artificial intelligence is transforming industries and redefining the future of engineering careers. In today's conversation, we will explore how AI is reshaping engineering roles, the skill students need to stay relevant, engaging career opportunities, and what future is looking. So just dive right in. So Santosh sir, it's a pleasure to have you with us today. And without further delay, let's dive right in.
Great. Um, Thank you, Zishank, for the nice introduction. And yeah, I'm also feeling glad to meet all you guys here on live and share my experiences so that someone from the crowd might get beneficial out of it. That is how we grow, right? All right. I would just take a minute to introduce myself, who I am. I myself, Santosh, I generally learn new things every day. Uh, may not be literally every day because you learn, you take some time to learn a new thing. But yeah, and I implement them in my system or in my project. We'll see how it goes, whether it's a success or it's a failure. It doesn't matter. For that day, I explored something. And I work as an engineering manager currently with a service-based company out of India. And previously, I had roles where I worked with startups, also worked with product-based companies, and also I had worked with some of the major e-commerce companies. So this has given me enormous amounts of data to process, experiences to learn, uh, that's how I keep motivated with all these experiences. So today I wanted to share my thought process when we are in this journey of evolving more with AI. I will take uh, my 2 cents, what I'm thinking, how you guys should also think. Uh, Maybe you definitely have your own different perspective, but I would try my industry experience to get beneficial to your expertise or to your thought process as well, so that you may get beneficial out of this talk. Okay. Let me share my screen because I also prepared some presentation for you guys. I used AI to do this. Why not? Like when we are talking about the evolution into AI, you should definitely do it by practical, right? So I gave some prompts. What is my thought process in my mind? I was been preparing for this talk maybe from the last couple of days. So I have so many points to discuss, but as and when I came across a point, I note it in my scratchpad, and I keep on adding these points. At one point, I found, yeah, this is good. Let me ask AI whether it can able to handle this, process it, and generate a presentation for me. Because presentation is also a skill. Not everyone are good at it. AI claims that it is good at it. I have given it a shot. Turns out to be good, but you guys can also see. This is written by me, so I don't want AI to write about myself. All right. Uh, Moving on to today's agenda, engineering and AI. I got a background about the audience. Uh, you are all still uh, in your phase of moving from one stage to the another big stage. Stage one is like your college background, your personal projects, friendships, or something that you're really trying to make it big. Uh, and the next leap is into an enterprise, right? That's what the background I got. So this is designed to not to go too much technical into the concepts, but make you aware of the distinction between what is your current life when you are at college life or personal project phase compared to what it should be a world when we are dealing with enterprises. And when you transition into this enterprise life, what roles you need to assume, what are your responsibilities, and then why AI is coming in between this phase, not just for you, it's for almost every one of us. When I said everyone, it's not just limited to software guys or industry of software. Every industry is touched. I don't think I need to enlighten you on that. You already been uh, able to see the value of AI in each and every of your day-to-day life aspects. Okay, so we are not an exception. Software engineering is also evolving with respect to AI. Yeah, let's discuss simply, because whenever I try to speak something about, I would like my last bench audience would also have a grasp of what I'm talking about, not only the people who are sitting in the front row. So I designed something which everyone would try to get something out of it. Some people may think engineering is a big term, but they do it without knowing it. Take an example of your day-to-day life when you are riding your bicycle or your two-wheeler. If it broke in the middle, you do some engineering, you fix it, you try to make it work again. Imagine there is no uh, uh, repair shop nearby, you have to. No one can say I don't have a skill. You definitely will try to do some kind of jugaad to fix it. That's what engineering is. This is just one example, but every day we do a lot of engineering stuff. Maybe you are playing a game and it got struck. What will you do? You don't say that it's not my task. You definitely do some kind of engineering stuff. Maybe you restart the app. Maybe you clear off some kind of junk files from your phone. You already thought like RAM is the process that got uh, me into this space. So you also try to stop some kind of media that is playing parallelly. You did some kind of engineering work. That's what we do here in enterprises as well. So it's not a big deal. But how do you do that? How fast you do that? How much money are you spending to fix that? Or maybe not always it's about fixing. Maybe sometimes it's about reinventing or building something new. So, yeah, the same questions again. How fast? How budget friendly are you building it? How you can make this uh, used by other colleagues or other people in this world as well. Okay. Uh, Moving on to some of the bottlenecks where every one of us had thought earlier. The major bottleneck when we talk about engineering or especially into software engineering is about how do we code, right? You talk Python, I don't know Python, or you talk about a programming language. I don't even know a programming language. I know the logics because I have my beautiful friends from my engineering days where they are super strong in thinking. When I give them a problem, they solve it like a gem. But when I ask them, come join me, let's code together because you have a very nice thought process, they got afraid of this coding stuff. might be something relevant to you guys also. Like someone sits in the back bench, still thinks like a sharp gem, but it doesn't want to get into these kind of syntaxes, coding, classes, objects, right? So now is the time for you. That bottleneck is gone. It's gone in your laptop. It's gone in enterprises missions as well. There comes the AI. It is able to handle the coding part for you, no matter which language you wanted, which framework you wanted, uh, which problem you wanted to solve. It doesn't matter. All you wanted is the willingness to solve a problem. You have your own companion. No need to learn about the syntaxes at all. But is it really solving my problems? Is it that easy? Now I have a coding agents, or maybe I have my Claude. I hope you guys are aware of these terminologies, or the LLMs, or the frontier technologies that are building this Claude Codex, or Kilo Code, whatever it might be. So that's it. Is it solving all the problems? I ask it and it builds it. Then not as of now. As of now is important. It's not really solving everything like a magical piece, but it has capabilities of doing it. Still, we are not there yet. So each and every one of us has still a relevant role to contribute to this whole revolution. Still lots of pieces that are missing to solve the puzzle, to make it fully autonomous. Okay, so don't worry about the future. There are still a lot of places which you can contribute. And that is good for us. Don't need to get panicked. But thinking of future, yeah, like I always take this to my mind, like whatever is there in your hands is what you need to worry about. Something is not in your hands, yeah, you care much less of it. Whatever you can do with your brain, with the current time given, yeah, that's all what you have to worry about. Okay, this is not the first time that we are facing this kind of revolution. But if you have analyzed, because I cannot say if you have seen, because you might be like Gen Z kind of generation, where the internet was introduced or Google search was introduced, but now we are all taking it for granted, right? So I cannot ask someone, do you have Google? Yeah, it's there in everyone's pocket. So it's also free for everyone. And about the smartphones, yes, you already have it. You are taking it for granted. Does that mean an introduction of a smartphone has solved all your personal problems? It's a giant leap from having your handphone, Nokia phone to smartphone. And then if people had thought like, yeah, this would take away all my jobs, this would solve all the problems of individuals, because they can play everything they wanted in their phone, they can see whatever they wanted, they can learn whatever they want, they can do whatever they want with some instructions. No, still not. The ecosystem of these smartphones has evolved a lot. It created a lot of opportunities for either Android or iOS apps, websites. It created its own ecosystem. When it was able to reach the far most of every citizen or every person in this world, the more problems it introduced, the more data it generated, the more jobs obviously it has generated. So think of AI and LLMs are also the same manner, but these are novel. We haven't seen anything like this so far. Cannot compare, but still, evolution is relevant in everyone's and everyday's life. Without evolution, we will just stay at the same pace where we are. And when we talk about internet, smartphones, or Google search, some are free, some we need to fetch some. And similarly, AI, some models are free, some models we need to fetch some bugs to get that into your pocket. So, but still, everyone who are having a smartphone or a laptop are now enabled with this AI or generative AI capabilities. It's kind of evolution we need to accept. Okay. Um, how we came here, we did a lot of researches, our frontier labs or machine learning engineers put a lot of efforts to, to get into this state where processing AI or generative AI is made enabled on each and every one of our laptops or smartphones. Now, is it a magical thing that, okay, now I have AI, now I create a project, or my enterprise is creating a project, now I have AI, let it solve everything? No, it's not working the same way. It's still not at the same thinking where uh, everyone thought about. So that is luckily very good for us, very good for uh, all the people who want to contribute to it. The magical capabilities that you see from outside world are not real. When you try to once enter into the LLM world, you see a lot of loopholes everywhere. Everything that you take it for granted earlier, when you're trying to do some kind of deterministic code, when you know that you write a program which says hello world, simple hello world, no matter you run it 1,000 times in your mission or lack of times on all other missions given the same environment, it guarantees you that it prints you hello world. But now that deterministic feature has become non-deterministic. Give the same uh, hello world kind of a code to be written by an LLM. Maybe a crazy LLM may say hi there, may not say hello world, would say like, yeah, sometimes it may try to find your name as well and say hello Santosh. So it's not a deterministic, but sometimes we need a deterministic code, sometimes may not. So the LLM is not a magical thing. You still have all the knowledge that you have learned over the years to make those things fixed, uh, make it deterministic whenever you want it, make it non-deterministic whenever you're fine with that. Yeah. So as I was discussing, there are a lot of things that you still all of us has a role to play and it to solve so many things. Okay. We thought AI is there and it is going to solve our problems, right? Think from a budding fourth grade or third grade student, maybe nowadays even a college student, +2 is also able to create software projects. What they thought is like AI is there that will solve my problems in my coding or in the phase of building my new app or new solution that I'm trying to bring in to the world. But as soon as they jump in, maybe you might have already faced this. You see, rather than solving the real world problems using AI, AI itself has some problems. I don't know how many of you guys would agree with me, but I hope most of you have now already realized that AI or these LLMs or these agents themselves have a problems to fix. So maybe some of the problems that we are trying to solve, uh, you guys know memory issues. You go to ChatGPT, you say, hi there, this is Santosh, and I do this. I'm an engineering manager. And tomorrow you ask the same question, who am I? It may or may not respond in the way that you anticipated. It still have some memory issues. Maybe in a thread it is maintaining, nowadays they are maintaining a thread and storing all your past histories, but how long would it last? As soon as you add more and more junk into that uh, it may get hallucinations, right? It may get lost in the middle. Uh, so there are still some memory leaks, and whatever I am adding to my memory should not leak to someone else. Right? So these problems are still there. And how much memory would you go on keep on adding to it? Like as a humans, I can recognize what Sketchbrains is, what my company is, but LLMs are still not at that phase to recognize everything individually without the support of us engineers. So we still have the role to play. And hallucinations, as you know, from the beginning of the LLM era, the hallucinations are there. Even now, uh, most of the hallucinations have been getting compressed, depressed, or getting faded away, but still hallucinations are a problem. Reasoning gaps, okay, you asked it to code something, and it coded it in a different architectural way than what you expected. So there is a gap, and when you try to ask it, is there a reason why you did that? Was it able to give you the perfect reason, or it got lost in the middle? It has hallucinated in the middle. That also plays a much bigger role. That's where all our frontier models are leading towards, whether my model able to reason perfectly to the exact problem statement or not. And on top of this, as you might have already been vibe coded some things, or maybe not vibe coding, you have put your real thoughts on it, you steered the driving seat of the LLM, then you might have definitely faced the heat of budget, right? How much of tokens are you spending? Uh, is it uh, breaking out the limit that you already purchased for the month? So how do we solve these token problems, right? Uh, when you get a model, it doesn't guarantee you that uh, screen is visible. Yeah, it doesn't guarantee you that you can do this in this amount of budget that you have. What if you give a very complex problem and your budget is not sufficient for that? How to bring that budget into your control? Yeah, these are some of the problems. Still, we all have a role to play. That's all. Now, if you already been trying to create some uh, or trying to build something out of AI, the same thing enterprises are also trying to do now. They are also trying to solve the customer problems or the real world problems using AI. Now, we are in an interesting phase that while solving our customer problems using a traditional method has been getting faded away. Everyone wants you to solve the problem uh, with the latest uh, Gen AI kind of a tools, or uh, agentic kind of tools. But while you pitch in and try to solve that customer problem, you are encountering the problems within AI itself, right? Previously, when we talked about the memory leak issues, or when we talk about our hallucinations, the gaps in the reasoning, or the cost of tokens, they are all sitting on top of you when you are trying to solve the actual customer problem. So where do we put your efforts more? Will you try to solve the problems of the AI itself first and then go into the customer problem? Or will you try to solve the customer problem using the buggy AI itself? Or will you ditch the AI because it is creating you more problems to solve than the original problem? Sounds funny, but world is going crazy now. People are fixing both at the same time, fixing the customer problems because the customer cannot wait for you. People are trying to fix the AI because they want to stay relevant. They are coming up with their own process mechanisms of tightening or making this AI not to make mistakes, not to go in a rogue route. Uh, Instead, get it back onto the context. Don't think different things when you're trying to solve this problem. Kind of. So people are coming up with their solutions at a rapid pace. When you learned something that, okay, my token problem is solved with this mechanism on July 2026. Let me go and implement for my customer. And you start implementing this solution on the AI to fix it. Then before you go to your actual customer problem, a new mechanism has been evolving from a different vendor or a different guy who's fixing this reasoning or token problem in a different way, which is more effective and which is asking less efforts from you. So now you are in a confused state. Okay, I thought this can be solved in this way, but the new guy is saying this can be solved in a different way. What should I go with? Right. So that's why I mentioned it's going crazy, and the time that it was giving you to solve, to think, is very less. By the time you blink your eye, a new model comes in, which is already replacing or which is already diminishing all the different problems that you thought models would have. They are gone now with this new model. But this comes with its own new problems. This comes with its own new budget range. All you might have known about Fable or the recent one, which got released maybe 2 days ago. And they would charge you more, of course, because they put a lot of efforts in that. So which one do you pick? The latest model, which has all the intelligence inbuilt, or because it is costing you more, use another model which is cheaper, but you provide all the safety net around it so that it won't make mistakes. It's very tough to decide. Yes, we are all going through that. You are not alone. When doing your own individual projects, we are also in the same phase at an enterprise level. So don't worry, we are all on the same boat. Yeah, some more problems that AI gives you to solve. Whoever sitting in front benches, back benches, think like AI is evolved and it is solving all my problems. No, you still have a lot of problem statements for you to take away, for you to create your own Git repo and try to solve it in a different way. We like it. Enterprises like it. When you try to show that in your resume, when you try to demo me that how you tackle this situation, it is like hot cake for me. I will definitely appreciate you and bring you to the hot seat to talk more about it. That's how you will grab opportunities. Some of the problems, LLMs generate one token at a time, right? Someone from the backbench may ask why it is generating one token at a time. Why not 5 tokens, right? Is it possible? Yeah, there are so many research papers which are trying to solve this as well. Why to settle with one? How can I generate more content in the next phase? They call it like speculative decoding. That's also evolving, which I'm also trying to learn this. Lost in the middle. Like you give a huge prompt, like how I try to generate this PPT by giving all my thought process, maybe like some 200, 300 lines, I put it. When it is trying to design this deck, it might have lost somewhere in the middle. Right? If I ask it directly, generate me a PPT which talks about how the roles of AI is evolving, it might go rogue. But what I did, I used some kind of a concept related to RAG. You might be aware of. Like I give my own notes. I give my own Google Keep notes where I keep adding on. So when you give a particular context, it will try to limit itself to give you the relevant answers. Uh, and while doing it, this is a simple example, but when you try to go into production, when you're trying to ask it to do a new feature, there is a high chance that it may break something else who might have built uh, with lot of effort on the other side. So before you build, are you sure that your AI is not going to break something or steal something from others? That's all important when you go away from your personal projects to the real-time projects or the enterprise level projects. You might have already known or seen recently how OpenAI models are trying to steal something from Hugging Face, which is not good. They did that. So in an enterprise, that would be a blunder that may bring you into a lot of lawsuits. Right? So this is also a problem statement. How you will solve it, yes, it's up to you. And did it uh, if you are currently following how the industry is solving these problems, how industries keeping the safety net called harness around all the models, like you implement a harness that it won't take much of the tokens, you implement a harness that it play a role in a proper way, not to deviate from its given role, not to delete something from your database, not to delete something from your file system. You create a harness around it uh, to make it safer. And when you go with agents, one agent is not disclosing some personal information to the other agent. So all these problems are getting evolved as we try to uh, enable more AI into the systems. And when we talk about while doing all these things, at some point, you may, or I mean, the agent may get lost in the middle. Why I am doing all these things? What is this security protocol? What is this leaking of memory? What is this token? My problem statement is write to code. Why I am thinking about all these things? And then it starts hallucinating. And then it forgets the actual goal as a developer, what you have given it to it. There comes some kind of concepts like loops, and also when you talk about budgeting, why the bigger model is taking more time for me, why can't I quantize it, why can't I fit it in my small system? Enormous amount of problems for there you to solve. Okay, as we already discussed about agents, right? uh, when we talk about the context, uh, today I have given 200 lines of a description to prepare the deck. What if I give maybe 10,000 lines to prepare a deck? Because when we talk about a kind of uh, a medical industry, when you want to present something and you want it to go through all the citations before it mention anything, the context would bloat. Right? How much of lines you try to give as instructions, right? It at some point it will break everything. Instead of doing good, it would do something wrong for you. So how do you solve it? Now there comes agents, where uh, you don't want to eat away all the context through one task. Instead, divide and conquer. What your simple engineering principles that which you learned uh, in your BTech courses, or maybe while doing your own projects. When I have given a complex problem, because I want to uh, test you, how do you deal with a big complex problem? Right? You also will try to solve it at stages, isn't it? Like you try to break it into pieces so that each piece will give you more understanding of the goal of that piece. Similarly, when you apply that principle um, as your bigger goal is keep on expanding, you try to branch out into small goals for it. That's where agents came in. Like if you look at the problems and the solutions that how we are solving these problems, we are again implementing our engineering principles, right? Even how we learned about our software solid principles, our software reusable components, how we tackled memory systems. The same way we are trying to apply these kind of principles to solve AI problems as well, because these solutions are universal. Whenever someone give you a bigger problem, you chunk it into smaller problems is universal. So if you say like I have AI, I don't need to learn anything from my computer science course, that's too much deviation. You still need the concepts. You still need to be aware of in what direction you want to steer your AI. It's still in your hands. You still have no escape. So learn computer science systems and then try to adapt them into your AI, and then you can master the AI, not the other way around. Okay, so when solving this, now where we are leading, the traditional way of you sit and try to write the code from line by line is gone, acceptable. Every enterprise is now encouraging our freshers or even experienced candidates not to write codes line by line. It's not your job anymore. You design it, you architect around it, you create the safe harness around it, you steer the vehicle. The amount of load needs to be taken care by your AI in writing the code, in writing the boilerplate. You might have been aware of how much you need to struggle with the syntaxes as you try to import a lot of packages in your code. So that you don't need to worry. AI will take care. That's how the roles are also evolving currently. When we talk about AI native engineering, it's also similar. You want to keep the AI native mindset so that don't keep the syntaxes in your mind. Keep agents in your mind. But that doesn't give you an escape to unlearn what you learned in your software engineering. No. Like maybe a simple analogy. When we are engineering in my era, I used to write some kind of code with Java or C or a bits of Python, not much at that era. So at that time, the previous generation has already built me a lot of OS components, how the CPUs work, how the memory work, how the chips work, and they all were built into my laptop. I don't need to worry about how the OS calls RPCs happen in between, how these high level languages of Java or Python will go into low level, uh, metal level understanding. I don't need to care about it. All I need to understand is more about the concepts of oops, right? You might still be relevant, I hope. And then I steer my program, right? But at some point, I still need to understand what is garbage in Java. How do I clean it? What if out of memory errors are coming? Then how do I handle them? What if there are system level exceptions? How do I gracefully handle them? Still, I need to have a better understanding of it. So similarly, even when you try to uh, gain more of AI, you still need to understand some concepts about how these LLMs or agents are working. Then only you can able to steer it perfectly. Otherwise, they may steer you, and we are not at that level of autonomous agents or LLMs, which guarantee you that their steering is perfect. No, their steering is not at all perfect. A lot of loopholes. So you are the ones who need to steer it. Imagine tomorrow you might be already leading some kind of fourth year projects. Right? There will be one lead, and there will be some 3-4 guys who will be contributing to the same project. That's the same thing that's happening in enterprise also. There will be one lead, some other guys who will be trying to code. All of a sudden, if you observe or if you try to speak to any of the industry people, they complain like from the last 2 years, the amount of code that it is getting to get reviewed is so huge that a common, not even a common, like an expert guy can also not review at the same pace what is coming into the Git repo. Earlier, per week, maybe some 10 to 15 files, or maybe some 2000, 3000 lines of code on a stable project as an enhancement would come for you to review. Now, you imagine that amount of code is getting generated and asking for peer review within a day or even half a day. How will you solve that? Will you just approve everything because you trust your employee? You just bring everything into the system? Yes, we are not able to go at that rapid pace. And if you approve all those requests, your system would crash. And you are just letting it go on a hope. Okay, it may work because in AI did that, it may work. But that it may work is not relevant in software engineering or for the enterprises. It costs them a lot. It costs a lot of human effort to get it back, or irreversible things may happen based on the industry that you are in. So you have still a lot to understand your computer system basics, CS background, and solid principles, and the way that you code are still relevant. And when these agents are trying to give you some kind of coding assistance, you should be in a state where you use your own intelligence to guide it. Whatever code you generated seems good, but let's try this way because I know that this way works better than this. Or you're using some kind of singleton, but I'm not using singleton anymore. Let's revamp this. So if you are not aware of those terminologies or the techniques, you just need to blindly follow whatever. If we go back to the earlier example when we started about a bike getting repaired and you were stopped, you tried to do some kind of engineering by yourself where you moved out the chain, added some oil in it, or you tried to do like this, like that, so that the fuel will go into the right place. That's kind of minimal knowledge that you had. But if you directly take it over to your agent, maybe a repair guy, and he says like, Bhaiya, it's completely gone. Let's replace the whole engine. Right? If you blindly follow and shut out like 50,000, 60,000 for it, he says like engine is gone. Instead of that, replace the whole vehicle itself. You should be at a level to judge whether what he said is correct or not. When you can judge, when you blindly follow, you can never judge him. You will always follow him. When you know the context, when you know the engineering principles that you have learned, that you could apply a bit on that, then you can ask him, why are you changing the whole engine? It's just a matter of the chain. It's just a matter of refueling it. If you can give me a bottle of fuel, I will try to make it work. Why are you thinking of replacing the whole engine? Right? Yeah, so that is still needed. There is no escape. Yeah, and this is how your traditional engineering is getting redefined. It's not replaced, it is redefined. You don't need to write the code from scratch. You can guide it in a way, in what way you wanted the output, by following what principles you wanted it to follow, what frameworks you wanted. Yeah. So if on a similar lines, if everything is magically been solved, right? someone says like, if you know English, it's solved. Then a fifth grader nowadays can speak better English than us, right? Then can he solve that? So it boils down to that. If you can able to define your problem and it is giving you the solutions back, then uh, it's no more relevant that you try to do all these engineering things, right? So it's not the case. We still need a lot of steering. We still need our design principles, our validations, our intelligence in thinking about the future. Whether if I deploy this as it is, how would it would scale in production? How would it uh, bear the attacks from cyber crimes? There will be a lot of dimensions before you blindly trust any of the LLM generated code or LLM generated content or the design that it gives. When we talk about the roles changing, we can see a lot of new roles are getting like mushrooms popped out, right? If you see agentic AI engineer or Gen AI engineer or FDE forward deployed, right? Um, it literally means deployment of the troops into the government agencies. FDE, that's what it was meant for. But now all the companies, frontier companies, are trying to do this. But is it anything different? Is it completely new for us? No. An engineer is always an engineer. He will try to fix the things, no matter whatever tools he use, no matter whatever techniques he use. The ultimate thing is whether he is able to solve the problem, whether he is able to solve the problem within the given budget and within given time. That's what it matters. So uh, don't think too much about the roles, but think too much about the problem solving techniques, how they are changing. What the problem statement itself is the problem within my use case, or is the problem within the solution that I'm using to solve this use case? Maybe some problems are not just visible to your naked eye until you try to uh, get into hands-on, until you try to adopt something from a GitHub project. You may feel that why he implemented or why she implemented in this way. Why not I add one more PR for that? Because I have a new way, I have a new technique to engineer this. So you are all encouraged to do that. That's where you add that extra add-on when we get into the same question. If a guy who is not even graduated was able to generate the code, why should you also generating the same code? Yeah, all these are new buzzword names, so don't think too much of them, but think about the concepts, what they are trying to use. Maybe RAG pipelines or maybe agentic loops. These are all different techniques that we are using in the industry. So if you are well versed of these techniques, how they work, and how differently you can contribute to these workaround solutions, that's what would lead you into the awesome journey of enterprises. Okay, so where all this is going towards? We talked about our engineering principles. We talked about our agents, how they are solving it, or LLMs, how they are solving it. We talked about how do we apply and what problems these new tools are bringing in or posing to us. Okay, we try to solve those problems as well. And then we go to the customer problems. All good. What is the future direction ahead? Right. When we are using our models where we are fetching $20 a month for Claude or $19 a month for Codex, right? There would be a point where we all realize that we need our own ecosystem. of AI. Enterprises need their own models because they know what their problems are. They know what their data is. Not Claude, not Codex may know or may not know. We don't want to believe in that uh, predictability or probability words. We want clarity on that. So it's better that every enterprises may have their own models, their own ecosystem of tools built around it when they are trying to solve the problems. And at one point of time earlier, a training or the compute are so much expensive that we can't even think of it. But now, on in the future, these concepts are rapidly changing, especially when there are open source models available, more intelligent than even Claude. When you try to follow some kind of Chinese models, uh, Kimi, KLM, GLM, there are so many, from Moonshot, ByteDance. It's a lot of companies who are democratizing the weights and their models and trying to solve these Gen AI problems in an open source way. So you can able to go and read those research papers, try to understand why Claude is making me pay for this, but a Chinese model is giving me for free, right? So that's where the industry can be evolved, where everyone can have their own models. When enterprises have their own models, why not us? For our limited context of our day-to-day life, we can train our own model. Everyone can think of their own agents that can understand their personal behavior so that the data is not leaked to the outside world. Still able to solve your own problems. And thinking a software as a service is gone. Whatever I say I had built can be built easily with a description by others as well. So software as a service is not that much hyped as it used to be in the earlier world. Uh, if you see any kind of big players like Jira, AWS, or Google, or Salesforce, GitHub, everyone trying to incorporate these agents into their ecosystem. And in this journey, each one are stepping into one other's shoes as well. Earlier, this guy is not supposed to do modeling work. It's only Google's thing. But now AWS came up with their own models. So everyone are jumping into everyone other's shoes. So it's not a limited scope now. Everyone can contribute. As of now, frontier models are winning. Yes, you can say like my Claude is better than anything else, but that may not hold true in the coming generations, especially when Chinese models are open sourcing everything. So keep track of that. And finally, I would ask uh, you or suggest every one of you to try to build things by yourself. Try to get failed. It doesn't matter. No one judges you when you fail, right? Keep on failing. It's pleasure to see yourself fail at some parts, but that makes you learn a lot of things. That failure itself gives you an opportunity to speak to your interviewer what you tried, what you failed, right? And yeah, now you are not alone. You have your companion, AI companion. Use it to the most. Try to solve the problems. That's it from my side, Shashank.
That was wonderful, Santosh. So we have a few viewers who have their questions. So we have Ruchita. Her question is, if we copy the code from AI, then we can hack the code easily. Then why AI?
Mm, if you copy the code and you can hack the AI, okay. Um, when we are able to copy the code, yes, that's what I was also talking about when everyone are able to just give a prompt, and you get the code out of it and you copy it, and can you able to solve the problems with it? Mostly not. Maybe it would solve you a simple problem statements for your own POCs, but not at a real scale, because that may bring in more problems. That may bring in more components that you haven't used earlier, which you have very less knowledge of it now. Um, see, just a day before, I was talking to one of the guy who said he built something. Okay, then I asked him, "Where did you host it?" He said, "I hosted in a cloud platform." Okay, then I asked, "What is your backend?" I hope you guys know about backend front end technologies, right? He's like some 3 4 years experienced guy. I asked him, "What is your backend?" Then he said, "I don't know my backend. AI just generated the code. I just hosted it. Why do I care about what's my backend? Doesn't it sound funny when you don't even know what's your backend?" So don't fall into that trap. If, and when you talk about the hacking, yes, uh, nowadays most of the models restrict you. Your question is in the right direction. Yes, when I can ask it, give me a code that can hack into this website. I hope I understand you correct. And give me a code that hack me into the government site and bring in. Yeah, that's happening actually. That even though there are a lot of guardrails around all these models, people are able to do some kind of jailbreaking and get the code, because these models were developed in such a way that when someone asks you to do wrong things, they should stop you and not give you any more tokens anymore. Answers not should not be generated, but still happening that you can jailbreak things. That's why a Fable model, when released at first, has to be stopped, because it is going to each and every websites and able to crack some kind of leaks of it, make you able to hack those websites, right? And yes, that is possible. That's the main threat for the enterprises, or even people who posted their softwares. And that's also the other side of it, is like, when there is a chance, then only you will enter. When there is a chance, then only you have hacked it. Why not shield everything that no one can able to hack it? That's where white hat hackers will come into picture. You use the models in such a way to protect your website more than to make damage more. But yes, as you said, when you try to hack it, then only you will find the loopholes. Yes, you find the loopholes, you fix it. Enterprises are already doing that. There is a big project called Glasswing from Anthropic, where it has designed some models which are specifically designed to break things. And this model is not open to any one of us yet. This was open to big giants like Amazon or Google, or maybe some biggest healthcare providers or financial institutions, Goldman Sachs or something, so that they run this model in the same way how you asked, why can't I hack things? Yes, they are currently running, while we are speaking, they are currently running these models, hacking it in a right way. Whenever they see the bugs, they're fixing it. But that model is not yet open to the entire rest of the world. Once they release these kind of models to bigger enterprises, they fix it, and then next level of companies will fix it, and then it will be finally, when they see it's safe for everyone, then they will release to the rest of the world. By the time you try to hack something, they might have added the shields around. Yeah, I hope I answered that.
Yep, wonderful. We have another question. It's from Yuvraj Singh. He is asking, how can we solve the problem of AI hallucination? While AI hallucination were a much bigger bottleneck in older models, right? And newer and more advanced models still experience the same issue. How would you address it?
Okay, okay, that's actually very nice and interesting question. That lies our future. This is where our future lies. When models are hallucinating and giving you wrong answers, that still give us a hope that why we exist. Imagine if it is not hallucinating. Imagine if it is not uh, doing anything wrong and going picture perfect. There is a threat for us, right? So how we are solving this currently? Um, when we say about hallucinating, that it is thinking something that it may or may not be true. So what the industry currently doing in fixing this problem is in two ways. Either add memories to it, because LLM is stateless. You all agree? You send a request to LLM, you get an output. The next time you ask it, it forgets. Oh, who are you? What did you ask? You don't know that. You need to send the previous question also. That's how we solved this memory problem earlier. You send the previous question, previous answer, and then that's new question. Then it goes through the chart and sees and gets the current context. But now, as we go on, this chart gets repeated. Maybe someone crazy is trying their whole day charting with this the same thread. At one point, the chart history became 10,000 lines. Now the hallucination comes. When you said something about America, it's about the law and policies of America rather than you trying to go to America for your studies. There are two different branches of it. Then it hallucinates about America is about the laws and policies of it and tries to dump this. That's what hallucination may be. So how we guide them is whenever we are having a chart with these models, we try to grab some kind of important memories of it and store it somewhere. Maybe your database, maybe your cache, Redis kind of cache things. So that next time when you ask something, you try to retrieve only specific things out of these storage systems and append this into your prompt so that it won't go rogue into the policies of US or America. Instead, go into the your determination of going to America for studying, where you retrieve this context from your database or your memory place where you held it. And nowadays we are also thinking, industry is also thinking about maintaining a graph of this all memories. And you start with studies that has a graph that has a node of USA, that has a node of Germany, that has USA now has a node of either to study as business, either to study as engineering. These are another separate branches. So when you try to retrieve, you don't need to think about all the Germany things. Those are a different branch. So branch it to USA and then to your engineering specific and take these memories. And as we grow, as we add on, this tree keeps on increasing and it bursts at some point, right? So that's why we call something as dreaming. The name sounds crazy, but yeah, it's called dreaming in the night. Let this whole big tree gets compressed to spit out all the unnecessary things that you don't want to remember, because even in this discussion we are talking about n number of things. Out of that, when you close this meeting, you may have few things in your mind, maybe an LLM, an agent, but all the rest of the things are like not necessary for you. So in dreaming, all these unnecessary things will be moved out, so you keep your tree clean. So that's how we solve memory issues. This is one point, but there are so many other branches how you solve this. This is one way I'm saying, but as a student, you can research this. You can bring up with your own solution to add on top of it, or to bring a completely new dimension to it. Maybe you can think of making an LLM stateful, right? Yeah, it's unlimited for your thinking.
Okay, I have a question from my side. Which AI tool do you personally recommend every engineering student should try?
Which AI tool? Okay, so I would see. I have very limited resources with respect to the companies, right? Because when you work at a company level, the amount of softwares that you are allowed to install are very less compared to your personal laptop. So I want to get most of it, right? So when you have a restriction of, as your students, you might need some kind of a tool which costs you less, which gets you more benefit of it. So you think of open source things like Kilo Code, I can suggest. When everyone, rest of your engineering mates may have the privilege of Claude Code, and they say, I'm coding, you say like, I cannot afford it, start with Kilo Code, which doesn't ask you for any payment and still able to give you good amount of code so that you can try to compete with other peers who are using paid softwares. Yeah. But as I mentioned in my whole session, don't blindly believe whatever code it is being given by a paid model or an unpaid free model. Still play your role. Why it gave me 10 lines of code when I asked for a problem? Why not 3 lines? Why not 30 lines? What it has thought, you should also think. Hope that helps.
Yeah. And we have a last question from Vijay. He is
Okay.
asking, how can students start learning AI even if they have no prior experience before?
Excellent question. You don't need any prior experience to start learning AI. That's actually a threat for most of us who claims that I read a lot of things. Still, a Gen Z is able to develop something without reading all these things. That's actually a threat. So you are not in a wrong direction. You are already in a right direction. You don't uh, need any background to start with, because earlier you are scary to start with something because you don't have a companion. You try start writing your hash include stda was .h. Is it correct? With the C programming, the first line that you write, or maybe in Python import something. And most people maybe may think like, why I'm importing it? Why I'm writing hash include stdio.sh in the first line? And they may go and ask the topper in the class or their teacher or for time's sake, whoever it might be. They may not get the proper answer and they get lost in this. They give up. Now you are not alone. You have a companion. You open your Gemini, which is free for you. You open your chat GPT, almost free for your daily interactions. Go and ask the same question and tell it like, start me as a first-year-old kid. It will give you in plain terms why you want to include those import statements in the beginning. What happens if you run it without those include statements in C, without those import statements in Python? It handhelds you like a beginner. So you can start learning from scratch using AI itself, and while learning simultaneously, open your laptop or your PC, try experimenting with it. Yeah, that's how you learn rather than uh, going on to the buzzwords of Instagram or YouTube. Learn AI in 10 minutes, learn coding in 2 days. No, these and all don't work. As soon as you start asking right questions, doing experiments, get failed. Failure is important. Get failed, then learn again. It's all for free in this era currently. It's not like the way earlier we used to. When we have a question, we need to follow up with a lot of lecturers. We think that information is so much privileged content. I need to ask so many lecturers. Maybe they are not aware of it. Maybe they don't have time for me to explain because they are looking at so many people like me. They don't want to explain it to me. their busy life, and and I can't afford to go for any other institution who may ask me to, who may makes me to learn this. I can't afford it. But now the whole equation changed. Your Gemini has all the answers with you. How to start with, and go it in a speak mode, right? If you are lazy enough to type backbencher, go it on a speak mode in Gemini. Hey Gemini, explain me what is import in Python. You do your own work. Just listen to it. How easy life is.
Okay. So, and that's a wrap up for today's episode. A huge thank you to Mr. Santosh Nemmaluri for sharing his valuable insights on how AI is reshaping engineering roles and what students can prepare the future. If you enjoy this conversation, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Sketchbrains for more insightful discussions with industry experts and innovators like Santosh himself. And also, be sure to follow Sketchbrains on LinkedIn and other social media platforms to stay updated for upcoming events or upcoming conversations. So you can scan the QR code on the screen and you can follow all the social media platforms through it. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. And as always, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep building. Thank you. This is Shashank from Sketchbrain signing off. See you in the next episode.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Sketchbrains, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, and all the best.
Thank you, Santosh. Thank you so much.